Hello, everybody, and welcome or welcome back to the second shelf and to another batch of reviews for the Women's Prize fiction Longlist. I already reviewed 4 of them in 2 batches. I will leave the links to those videos for Glory and Stoneblind and Homesick and Memphis in the description box. And today is another 3. And I put them together because they are like weird, weird stuff happening, stranger things, but then in books. And the first one I want to talk about, I don't want to talk about too long because I DNF'd Elizabeth Mackenzie's The Dog of the North. Yes, I know. I promised to read all of them, and I had already DNF Glory last year before the list was even announced, and couldn't bring myself to pick it back up. I will read every book I DNF'd, and I don't think there will be more than those 2 if it makes the shortlist. That is a solid promise. So, but this one, it's not a bad book. If you are into this type of over quirky kind of chick lit vibe, this book will make you laugh. You will find it hilarious. You know, Elizabeth Mackenzie is a US author. Her previous book, or one of her previous books, The Portable Veblen, I did not engage. It didn't gel with me, with the humor. And this one was worse in the sense that the hilariousness and the quirkiness is the big feature in this book. We follow Penny Rush, who wants to make a fresh start. She's in her mid-30s, divorced, quit her job. Her parents have gone missing in the Australian outback some years ago, and she embarks on a road trip. Not a fan of road trip books, me, you know that, but I would have read it because, you know, but it's the quirkiness, the constant, you know, every scene is hilarious, and the bodily fluids that are hilarious, and I don't know, it was just too much of the quirkiness. I felt it was oppressive, and after about, I think I read a third, I just quit. So I'm not really able to review it in full. It was absolutely not for me. But like I said, I think certainly if you read The Portable Veblen, if that kind of humor and that writing style appeals to you, then I think you might really enjoy this book, because a lot of readers enjoyed it because it's so funny and humorous. But it was just not for me. Sorry about that. The next one that was also in the category strange. Let me see which one I'm doing alphabetically. So the next one is Children of Paradise by Kamila Grudova. This is technically a debut, or labeled a debut, because it's her first novel. But Grudova did write short fiction before, so she is not a new fiction writer, if you know what I mean. Children of Paradise, she is Scotland, I think. She was born in Canada, but she moved to Scotland. So the book is set in the present time, and it centers around a movie theater, a dilapidated old movie theater called Paradise. And you know, it's a reference to the movies. Children of Paradise is a French movie, and it means, in the French context, movie context, it means the cheap seats, Paradise. Anyway, so you have a young woman who just came to the city, who's looking for a job, and she sees that the Paradise is hiring, for cleaning and being an usher and manning the bar or womening the bar. And there is the owner, an old lady, but also the woman who runs the theater or the movie theater, and a couple of misfits that work there. And each chapter begins with or is titled according to a movie. So there's a lot of movie references in it. And I think movie buffs will really, really enjoy this book. And I like the characters and the strangeness of this movie theater and the way this group of people slowly, incorporates the newcomer, the new girl, the new young woman. And then shit happens. I'm not going to tell you what, but shit happens. So the second half is much more about the plot, and that story just did not feel very convincing. So I did not like the second part as much as the first part. I gave it, I think, 2.5 or 3 stars. So it's certainly not a bad book. And I think, like I said, if you are into movies, you will find so many references in the movies they watch, because this group of misfits not only presents movies to the public, the theater they are running, but also they are coming together privately, and then they're watching movies and they're talking about it. And I thought that was all really very, it had a weirdness to it, but it was also very engaging. But then when it came to the story, the plot, it kind of lost me a little bit, which was, a pity, I felt, because it is definitely the good kind of strange. So I think you might want to give it a try, but don't expect too much of the plot, because that just wasn't that well done, I felt, But anyway, so it's in the it will end up, I think, in the mid section of the 16, but not in the first 6. So it will not be a book that I would have go on to the shortlist. And the next one, that is also the third one, that is also weird, is Sophie Mackintosh's book, Cursed Bread. Now, Sophie Mackintosh wrote a Water Cure. That was her debut novel about this weird place where it's kind of dystopian, which did not work that well for me. So I didn't read her second book. But this one is not dystopian, but historical. It takes a real life event in a French village in the 1950s. A whole village almost got poisoned by bread, probably. Nobody is quite sure who did it, what happened. And Sophie Mackintosh takes this occurrence, and so we know what will happen all the way at the end of the novel, but she focuses on 2 women, the baker's wife, who is a middle-aged, kind of not really happy woman, but not able to change herself. She is sexually very unsatisfied and needs something, she needs an affair, so to speak. And then there's new people coming. Violet and her husband, the ambassador, they come to the village, and they set off all kinds of events. The baker's wife has this very strange attraction to both of them. There is kind of a S&M vibe within this trio of people, and the bread is important. Baker's wife. And it's not a spoiler. We know that people will die at the end. And the book is told in the present day, so in the beginning of the 1950s, when Violet and her ambassador husband come to the village. And then after the events, we learn that the baker's wife has survived, but is now recuperating in some seaside village and writing letters to Violet. I loved the atmosphere and the language, and the way these people, they sort of circle around each other. And I thought that was really, really brilliant. And the food and the atmosphere. It took an awfully long time for something to happen. That was one thing. Didn't help that I listened to this on audio, and even though it is still in Sophie Mackintosh's book set in a French village, the narrator had a very, very strong British accent, English accent, which sounded weird when you talk about Madame Veuille or something, and there's this British voice. So it's told from the baker's wife. She is French, so that was weird. And it didn't help, I think, the audio, because I can't listen as fast as I can read, and maybe it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have felt that long if I had read it. But I definitely, the atmosphere, and it's not, don't expect a lot of that explanation. It still stays a weird event, also in the book. So it's not like Sophie Mackintosh presents you with the final solution of what has happened. No, it's about, evil coming to town and people, strange people upsetting the equilibrium of a society, a small society, a village. So I liked it, but I didn't love it. Again, it will probably end up in the mid-range of all the book, and certainly not in the first. So if I divide the 16, in 6 for the shortlist, and then the bottom 4, and then 6 in the middle. So this will be one of the 6 in the middle, like Children of Paradise will be as well. Anyway, so these are 3 more books that I've read, or not. 3 more reviews. The reading is going well, by the way. I have only 3 more books to read. So I will definitely be able to finish before the long list is announced, with one caveat. There's one book that I have difficulties acquiring. If I can't get it, I can't do anything about that. I contacted the publisher and they promised to send it to me, so maybe it will arrive in time for me to finish it before the 26th. Anyway, but other than that, it's going well. There will be another batch of reviews that I will publish. I think I will upload next Friday, and then I will give you a little break because I don't want to, only have you see the reviews for the Women's Prize, because there are also viewers who are not interested at all in the books of the Women's Prize. But this was Dog of the North was not for me, but certainly for some readers, and it was not a bad batch. Cursed Bread and Children of Paradise, they both definitely had their merit. Anyway, this was it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 reviews. I'm, as always, looking forward to your comments, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.